Welcome to the Connect with BMC Helix ITSM and Remedy webinar. During today's webinar, you'll be able to ask questions of our panelists via the Q&A pod. The Q&A, along with today's recording, will be published to our YouTube channel a week from today's broadcast. Today's topic is CMDB Portal Walk Through, and Jean-Christophe and Devendra Borse will take us through this content. I'll turn it over to you, JC.
Thank you, Greg. My name is Jean-Christophe. I'm a lead technical support analyst at BMC Software. And today I'll be joined by my colleague Devendra Borse, lead technical support analyst at BMC Software. In this webinar, we're going to take a look at the highlights and features of the Atrium CMDB portal. In our agenda today, we'll go through an overview on how the Atrium CMDB portal came about. We'll take a look at the console itself and highlight new features, as well as go through some short demos. We'll then take a look at some troubleshooting steps, and we'll also provide some useful references which you can follow up on. With the announcement from Adobe to stop support for the Flash and Flex components, it gave BMC an opportunity to redesign the Atrium CMDB console, moving from a high-footprint console to a more streamlined HTML and Angular-based framework. With the redesign of the Atrium CMDB console, there is now a new way for an Atrium CMDB administrator to work. Whereas before, it wasn't always clear for a CMDB administrator to know which steps to take next. The new CMDB portal has an intuitive step-by-step guide for which an administrator can normalize, reconcile, and promote their data to the golden dataset. Some of the new features of the new CMDB portal include global CI search, where we can search for a particular CI or a group of CIs from anywhere on the console. A drag and drop query builder, where you don't need to be familiar with the Remedy search language. Contextual help, where help is at hand anywhere on the console, depending on which function you're trying to action. And archiving, where we can move unused data to another part of the system to help with optimization and regulatory requirements. The new CMDB console is now based on HTML5 and Angular frameworks, running on the Jetty web server. Compared to its predecessor Flex, it's more secure by way of simpler SSL configuration and access control. On performance, compared to the Flex GUI, it gives a faster response even when working with a large amount of data. Designed to be a single-page application, in the CMDB portal you can carry out your main task without having to open a new tab or refreshing the page, therefore reducing user annoyance. The CMDB portal now gives real-time feedback and tooltips when you are working. For example, one of the recommendations from BMC is to only have one normalization job for each dataset. If you try to create multiple jobs for a single dataset, you will get an advisory warning. The CMDB portal doesn't cluster all tasks under one option menu. Instead, the clean layout only gives you the most used functions. With the progressive disclosure module, an administrator will be able to carry out their work in a step-by-step methodology as recommended by BMC. Before, it was difficult to get a quick overview of the health of the CMDB. The new portal now provides two health KPIs, integrity and completeness. Calculated, they give a percentage result of the health of the CMDB. If either the integrity or completeness KPI shows any exceptions, you can click on either one to see the recommendations on how to fix the exceptions. As well as providing a step-by-step guide to tasks, the progressive disclosure model gives the CMDB administrator a clear view of CIs that have failed normalization or reconciliation. By clicking on the ribbon, you will be presented with more information on why the CI failed to normalize or reconcile, and be given the recommended actions. The global CI search gives the ability to search for CIs or group of CIs in any part of the console, whether it's from the dashboard, the job consoles, the class manager, or the configuration console. We'll now go through a quick demo of the components covered so far. There are two methods of launching the CMDB portal. The first one is to go via the mid-tier. In the application launcher, we'll go to Atrium Core and then Configuration Manager Dashboard. And that will bring you to the CMDB portal. The next method is to go directly to the portal with the following URL: http AR server hostname 8008/cmdb/index.html #/login, and that will bring you directly to the portal. You'll notice the first time you log into the portal, two messages saying the utility schedule is disabled. The two health KPIs here will also be grayed out. To configure the dashboard utility schedule, we'll go to Configurations, Dashboard Parameters, and Schedule. And that will bring us to the Configure Schedule console. Here, we'll turn on the schedule. It's also worth noting the recommendations here. BMC recommends that you schedule the dashboard utility for off-peak hours so as not to adversely impact the overall system performance. We'll put in a start time, which is out of hours. The next thing we need to do is also set a schedule for the data source utility. Again, it's recommended that we do it out of hours. There should be a minimum of 2 hours between the dashboard utility schedule and the data sources utility schedule. Otherwise, you will get an error message and you won't be able to save the schedule. So once that is done, scroll down to the bottom and we'll save. As mentioned before, these two health KPIs here and also the data sources information, again, will still be grayed out until the schedules are run for the first time. And once they are run, the integrity, completeness, and the data sources information will be populated. Let's now take a look around the dashboard. At the top, we have our quick CI search, where we can search for any CI or CIs in the system. In this instance, we're going to be searching the BMC asset dataset and the computer system class. To search any other class, we'll just come in and we'll start typing a class name and we'll be presented with a list of classes. In the next field, we have our attribute name. In this case, it's the name attribute, and also we can put in a value. And once we hit search, our CIs will show up in the search results. The quick search is available pretty much everywhere on the dashboard. We'll hide the results for the time being and take a look at the other parts of the console. On the right hand side of the console, we have information on Atrium Integrator jobs, normalization and reconciliation. We also have the top datasets by CIs issues information. Here we can see which datasets we have where the CIs have some issues. In this instance, my BMC.addm dataset has a total of 9,402 CIs, where 1,788 have issues, and also the BMC asset datasets. We also have information by top import jobs by record issues. In this instance, no issues were detected, and the top normalization job by issues, as well as top reconciliation jobs by CI issues. Going back to the health of the CMDB, we can quickly see the health of our CMDB. In this system, we've only got 85% integrity and 87% completeness. With the progressive disclosure model, we can now go in and click any one of these KPIs to see what the issues are. For integrity, we'll click into it, and that will bring us to the integrity console. Here we can see the total amount of exceptions we have and what states they're in. In this instance, we have 397 orphans. In here, you can display all of the CIs that have issues and also take a look at what the recommended actions are. And we can also do the same for completeness. Here we can see one of our CIs under the computer system class is missing 5 attributes. If we hover over it, we'll see which attributes are missing and also get the recommended actions. Going back to the main dashboard, we'll now take a look at the data flow ribbon. From here, we can take a look at a snapshot of our data and follow the data flow from collection to consumption. We can view our snapshots by either datasets and also a time frame. In the ribbon itself, we can see our data sources and any errors that we have. Then we can see how many CIs have been imported through UDM or Spoon. We have our normalization counts showing how many CIs have been normalized and how many CIs have failed normalization. Then move on to reconciliation, where again we have our identified CIs and it will show us if we have any errors. And same goes for the merge activity in reconciliation. We also have any CIs which have been updated during a given time period. So as an example, let's change the day from today's date to the last 30 days. We can see here that in the last 30 days, we've had nearly 10,000 updates into our CMDB. And if we change the dataset to assets, we can see that all of these updates happened in the asset datasets. Again, with the progressive disclosure model, we can drill down into each of these components to get a more detailed view. So if we go into normalization, from here we can see how many have normalized correctly and how many have errors. And we'll also get a list of the CIs which have failed normalization. For reconciliation, we can see the same thing. Back on the ribbon, if we click identified CIs, we have a total number of jobs, the number of CIs that have been reconciled or identified in this instance, and the total amount of errors. As you can see, it's really easy now to get a snapshot of the data in the CMDB and to quickly go in to see what has failed and what has not, and to see which CIs have issues that we need to work on. Let's now take a look at the CMDB Explorer. In our quick search, we'll bring up a business service, and we're going to use this human resources here in the example. To launch the Explorer, we'll click on the CI, and that will bring up the CMDB Explorer. From here, we can expand all the relationships and CIs underneath the Human Resources Business Service. We have two modes in the CMDB Explorer, drag mode and select mode. In drag mode, we can explore the graphical tree and move the whole model to where we need to be. In select mode, let's say for example that we want to group together some CIs to make the whole tree a little bit cleaner. We'll go to select mode and we'll just draw the CIs that we want to group together and select group selected CIs. And this now just groups these CIs together. Of course, we can come in and we can expand them again. With the layouts, we've got a few predefined layouts. We can view our CIs from left to right, right to left, top to bottom, or bottom to top, depending on your preference. We can also filter out the CIs that we don't want to see in the model. For example, let's say we don't really want to see the actual business service or the applications. We can come into filter and just untick them. The business service will disappear, and let's select the applications also. And of course, if we want them back, we'll just select them. There is also an export mode where we can export what is seen on the Explorer into file formats such as PDF, PNG, SVG, or just straight to the printer. To view information on a particular CI, we'll select the CI and go to the bottom and select Show CI Details. And that will give you all of the attributes that are available for that CI in the CMDB. You can also edit the CIs. If we go to the edit mode here, and that will load the CIs into our sandbox. We'll right click and edit instance. Because the CI is in the asset dataset, that will bring up the asset management console. So if we make a change here, for example, on the floor and save it, when we go back to the portal, we can then review our sandbox changes. And then do our promotion. If at any point when using the CMDB portal you need help, there's the self-help flyout menu on the right. From here you can view some videos and go to the documentation pages to help you on your task. I will now pass you to Devendra, who will cover the next series of slides and demos.
Thanks, JC. I'll be showing some other features of new CMDB UI. One of them is a faster query building. You can create your own query with drag and drop process for searching CIs without specifying long qualification. Also, you can search the online documentation from the self-help tab and see the related help content from the BMC CMDB UI itself. Let me give you a demo on that. If you wanted to create a new query, you can do it from here. Just click on quick search and then there is a new query option. And you can build your own query from here for any specific class. So from here, you can just select the class on which you wanted to create a query. Like I can select computer system and click on this to edit the qualification. And then I can give name like CompSys%. So it should show all the CS with starting with CompSys. So you can just, after creating qualification, you can click on validate and search. So it will show the CIs here. And now you can just create your own category like CI with CompSys. And you can give any query name, CompSys query, and then you can click on save query. So it will save new query under this category. Now you'll find that query here under CompSys. Now next is dynamic service modeling. So dynamic service modeling is used to create a relationship between two different CIs dynamically. Like if you have one business service and you wanted to relate it with computer system according to some qualification, then you can use the DSM. So in DSM, you can create a query for a specific class and then it will create a relationship between them. So I will just show you how you can create a relationship between technical service and the computer system. So I'm just selecting a technical service here. Service name is test service. I can just click on create query. So now you can just select the class which you wanted to relate with. So I can just select a computer system here. Let me give a query name. Just giving DSM query. And then I can create a qualification here. So I want all the CIs with specific serial number. So serial number like, and I can type a qualification here like CompSys. So I already have two CIs with name as CompSys. So we'll just relate that with this technical service. So once you create the query, you can just click on test query just to see how many CIs are there. So you can see like there is CompSys1 and CompSys2. You can just click on OK and click on save. And if you see the default schedule to run this query is 30 hours. And if you want to change the interval of that query, then you can just go back to that technical service. You can click on show queries and you can change this from 30 hours. Like if you want to change to 30 minutes, you can just change it from here. So this query will run every 30 minutes and will try to find all the computer system with the qualification as serial number equal to CompSys%. If it finds any CI, it will automatically create the relationship between this technical service with computer system. And you can just save this. Next is Atrium Integrator. Earlier, there was a separate console for Atrium Integrator in old UI, but now we have added it on the Configuration Manager dashboard itself. I will show you the demo on that. Atrium Integrator is available under Jobs. You can just select Atrium Integrator. It will show you all the jobs which are available. And if you wanted to create a new one, you can just click on Create Job. But before creating job, it's required to have the data store created first. So you can just go to the Manage Data Store. You can create a data store for AR and for CSV file. Suppose if you wanted to import data from CSV, then you will create a data store for CSV. If it is from the database, you can select database. If you wanted to import data from XML, then it will be XML file. So right now I'll just create one for AR system. I can just use the same AR server. I can give AR data store as a name. I can give the AR server name and port, and you have to specify the remedy application service password. You can click on test data store. So now it shows that completed successfully. You can just click on save. So now AR data store is created. Next, I will create data store for CSV. So I'll show you how you can import data from CSV file to CMDB. So I'm giving name as CSV data store. I can give path of CSV file. Click on test data store. It is showing data store operation completed successfully. You can just click on save. So now you have two data store. One is CSV and AR, one for source and another one for destination. So I can just go to the data imports and click on create job. Give name for the job. So I'm giving CSV to CMDB. Okay, and then I can just select source type as CSV data store. And then for target, I can select AR, and I can select the dataset where I wanted to import it. So for now, I'll select the BMC sample. Then here, select the class where you wanted to import the data. So I'm selecting computer system. A logical name for CI type, you can give any name. So I'm giving comps. Okay. And select the source file here. So under that CSV folder, I have created test.csv, which you can select. And then here you can do the actual mapping. So I'm mapping name with source column name map. Then second is serial number. So you can map all the fields that you want. So currently I have only 3 fields on the CSV file, so I will just select or map those 3 fields. Short description. And then you can make one of these as primary or source key. So I'm selecting name as source key. And if you want the delta import, you can just turn on this option, or if you wanted to delete orphan records from CMDB, you can select this. Then if you wanted to schedule it, you can add schedule and then click on save. That's how you can create the job. And now if you wanted to run it, you can just click on start job and job should run. You can just go back and just check here, run history. So it is showing that, okay, so there were 2 records, it created 2, source records were 2, so it completed successfully. If you wanted to see the data, you can just go to that form. I imported it in computer system, so I can just go to the BMC core, BMC computer system. I can just select create date, today's date. Okay. So you can see 2 records got created in BMC sample dataset. Okay, and yeah, it created a few minutes ago. So that job completed successfully. You can also check the logging details here. Let me ask JC to cover this topic.
Thank you, Devendra. Auditing has been around in the CMDB from previous versions, but now there's a new way to configure it, Archiving is a new feature which allows you to transfer unused CIs from one portion of the CMDB to another without purging the data from the system. This will help with performance. Let's now take a look how to configure auditing and archiving in the CMDB portal. And we configure this from the class manager. We'll go to class management, classes. We are going to set auditing on for the computer system class. So from the filter by class name, I'll search for the computer system class and select that. Here we need to edit the class, and under audit we set the audit type to log. Our default audit form is CMDB default audit log. Once we've done that, we hit save. And here I want to configure auditing for a particular attribute on the computer system class. So we'll go down till we see the computer system class here and select a particular attribute. Let's use hostname. When the attribute detail comes up, edit, and under audit option, select audit and copy and hit save. You can see up here there's a successfully saved message. Once that is done, our auditing has been enabled for the computer system class and the attribute of hostname. Let's go back to the dashboard and we'll search for CI in the computer system class, and we'll use this CI called JC temp import comp. I'm going to open the backend form and look for hostname. Here I'll change the hostname to something else and click save. We'll go back to the portal and open this CI. Show CI details, and we'll have an option of CI audit. And here we'll see the audit details that the host name has been changed by a user called demo on this date. We can also view the audit information from the Asset Manager console. Let's search our CI again. Go to Functions and CMDB Audits, which will hook in to the portal and give us our audit information. Let's now take a quick look at archiving. To configure archiving, we'll go to Configurations, Archive Manager, and that will bring up the Archive Manager configuration page. By default, we have a 90-day archiving policy. But if we haven't set any of the classes to be archived, then nothing will get archived. Depending on your company policy, you can set this to however many days you want. For this example, we're going to set archiving for the computer system class. Here we're presented with a qualification for archiving. Here we're presented with the default archiving form for computer system, and also it allows us to put in a qualification for our archiving criteria. We can launch the expression builder, allow manual edit. For this, I'm going to use the mark as deleted attribute. And I'm going to archive anything in the computer system class that has mark as deleted attribute set to yes. And before I save this, I'm going to also set this computer system to mark as deleted equal yes in the asset dataset and save that. So now we'll come back to the portal and we click OK. And once we hit save, we'll get a message depending on the qualification criteria we've just put in. So for this example, because I've just set that one computer system to mark as deleted equals yes, I get a message saying with this qualification, one CI for class BMC computer system will get archived along with all its relationships and connected weak CIs. And it asks me if I want to save, and I do. At this point, the computer system is still in the system, and I can run an ad hoc archive. We'll get a message here saying successfully triggered the archival. And if we go back to the backend computer system form and hit refresh, our CI is no longer in the asset dataset, but it is still in the system, and we can search for it in the archive form. Along with all the other CIs that have been previously archived. And if we go to asset management and try to search for that CI, it's no longer there, but we still have a record of it in the default archive form. I'll once again pass you to Devendra to cover the next series of slides and demos.
Thanks, JC. Normalization is the important component of this CMDB. I'll show you how you can create a normalization from the new CMDB UI. Let me give you a demo. So for normalization, you can just go to the Manage Normalization. It will show you all the jobs which are available currently in the system. So currently there are no jobs. If I wanted to create a new one, I can just click on the Create Job button here. You can give any name for the job. So I'm giving a name as ADDM Normalization. I can select the dataset from here. And then settings that you want, like if you want allow new product catalog entry to be created, you can check this box. If you want to allow unapproved CIs, you can check this box. Again, there are different normalization features which are available, like speed rollup, relationship name, instance, impact, or custom. If you want any features to be selected, you can select here, and it will include that feature for this particular job. And then you can schedule it for continuous or a specific time as a batch job. So I'm scheduling it daily on 2 a.m. I can just click on save and it will create the normalization job. Now you can see that job in the total here. And if you wanted to run, you can just click on that job and you can start it from here. Configuration related to normalization is available under Configuration, Manage Normalization Rules, and Catalog Mapping. Here you can find the existing mapping, or you can create new mapping for the product catalog. So let me create a new mapping here for a computer system class. So on the left side, you have discovery product categorization. That means like how the CI is bringing the product catalog information, and map product categorization is how you have the product catalog created on your system. So suppose if my CI is coming with category as hardware, processing unit, desktop, product name, suppose it is coming as Dell Vostro and it is coming as Dell Incorporated, and I want this product categorization to be changed with hardware processing unit. I want it to be laptop, and product name is only Vostro, not Dell Vostro. And manufacturer name is, I have Dell Inc., not Dell Incorporated. So I can just select that. It shows all the list of manufacturers which are available in the system. So you can select the correct one and you can save the mapping. So whenever you will run the job, it will check this catalog mapping. It will find those values and it will replace with the one which are mentioned in the mapping. So next is in the normalization rules, you have all the different features which are available out of the box. I will not go in detail, but let me just give you high-level ideas. So version rollup is used if you wanted to change the version number, like if you have 7604, but I just want 7.6, then you can use version rollup. Suite rollup. So this feature enables you to define suites and their products and to identify an instance as a suite or suite component or a standalone application. This allows more accurate management of suite and individual license. Next is row level security. You can use this rule to set the row level permissions on CI as defined by the CI classes and additional qualifiers of the instance attribute. Next is relationship. Relationship name normalization feature is applicable to relationship classes only. This feature replaces the existing relationship name with the BMC recommended or custom names based on the CI classes in the relationship. Impact normalization feature is applied to relationship classes only. This feature sets the impact attributes such as has impact, impact directions according to source and destination classes. The last one is custom. You can create a custom rules when the out-of-the-box normalization features do not meet your requirement for normalizing data. You can create a custom rule for CI and relationship classes to perform a required action. Then under normalization rules, you have dataset configuration. So in dataset, you'll see different dataset which are available in your system, and you can change the normalization type, normalization mode. If you wanted to change allow unapproved CIs or allow new product catalog entry, you can change it from here. You just have to select the dataset. You can click on edit, and then you can change from here. Like if you wanted to change CTI to name and CTI lookup, you can change. If you wanted to change inline mode, you can change from here. From continuous to inline, you can. Then if you don't want allow unapproved CIs, you can uncheck. So all the options are available here, and you can just click on save. And those changes will be applied for that specific dataset. Next is under normalization rules, there is class configuration. Suppose if you don't want specific class to be normalized, you can just remove the entry from here. Like I have seen customers asking for like they don't want specific class to be normalized, like IP endpoints, then you can just remove that from here, and the CIs from that class will not participate in normalization activity. Or if you create a custom class, then by default, it will not go for normalization. So if you want to normalize that class, you can just click on add class configuration. You can select that custom class from here, and you can just click on save button. That's all you have for the normalization from the configuration side. Next is reconciliation. It is widely used component of the CMDB, and this is how reconciliation UI looks like in the new CMDB UI. So let me give you a demo on how you can create a reconciliation job from the UI, and also how you can configure the precedence rules and identification rules. So for a reconciliation, you'll be able to see all the jobs here which are created. You can view it by activity type, like if I wanted to check only the job with merge activity, only with purge, it will show all the jobs here. Also, you can select dataset from here so if you select BMC ADDM, it will show all the jobs for the ADDM dataset. If you wanted to create a new job, you can just click on create job. You can give a job name. So I'm creating a new job for ADDM dataset. So ADDM ID and merge. Okay. Then you just have to click on add activity, and from here you can select which activity you want to add. You can select identify. I'm using the standard rules over here. So for identify, you can just give any name. You have to select the source dataset. So I'm selecting BMC ADDM, and target is BMC asset. You can just create another activity here. Select the merge. So ID is created, now it's merge. You can select BMC ADDM to asset, and that's it. Click on save and it will save the job. By default, we are using default merge precedence. So you can create your own precedence set and select that as well. But as we are creating a standard job, it is using default merge precedence here. And you can just click on save button and it will save the job. Okay, so you'll be able to see that new job which we created. You can just click on that. If you wanted to run the job, there is a start job option available here. And if you want to schedule it for a specific time, you can also schedule it. So you can specify the schedule while creating the job as well. So a job is already created. You can just click on edit job and then specify the schedule over here. The recurrence, you can just click on add scheduler. You can select all the days when you want to run the job. Okay, save it. Okay, so job is saved, updated successfully. So you can just go there and you can see the schedule. If you wanted to run, you can just click on start job and it will run. So for reconciliation, if you want to modify the identification rules or precedence, that you can do from configurations, manage reconciliation rules, and you will find the identification rules here. You can select the class for which class you wanted to modify it. So in this particular version, there is no option to edit the standard rules. But in next version, which will be 2102, there is option to modify the standard rules. But you can also modify it from custom. You can just go to the custom and you can select the specific activity, like for ADDM ID and merge. And you can modify it from there. Like if I wanted to change the first rule, like you can just go and edit from here. Or if you wanted to add another rule, you can just click on add rule and you can create a new one here. Same for precedence. You can just go to the configuration, manage reconciliation rules, precedence exception. You can select the precedence set from here and then you can change the precedence values. Like if I wanted to change for a BMC sample, I can just select that data set and I can change the value. Suppose if I wanted to change for serial number to 300, I can just do that and click on save. That way you can change the precedence. And another option which is available is qualification rule. Like if you wanted to create a qualification, like if you want to run the recon job for a specific qualification, you can create a new one here. You just have to click on add rule set. You can give any name, test rule, and then you can add the qualification rule here. Like if I want to run the job for a specific CI, I can give CI only, one CI only. and you can select computer system and then build the qualification. Like if I want name equal to test CI, I can just run the recon job for this qualification. So once you create the qualification, you can just go back to the job. I'll go to ADDM ID and merge, and then there is a qualification option you'll see. So currently it is use all classes and instances, but I can just change it. Like you can click on edit job, go to the qualification, and you can just select the qualification rule set. Like if I want the one which I created now, test rule, I can select that one, click on OK, and save this. So now this job will run only for that qualification. Identify activity specifically, because we selected that qualification for identify activity. You can do same thing for merge as well. Okay, there we go. Next feature of CMDB Portal is single core components configuration page. You can configure all CMDB related plugins and components from the new CMDB UI itself. Let me give you a quick demo on that. In configuration, you have core configuration, where you can enable the logging, or you can change the parameters for specific plugin from here. So we have options for CMDB engine, normalization, CMDB services, recon, Atrium Integration, impact simulator. So whichever plugin you want to enable debug logs, you can just select that one. Suppose I wanted to enable debug for recon, I can just click on reconciliation, select the server, and then I can just go to the logging and I can change the logging level from here. So I can just change it. So currently it's already on debug, so I can change it to error and I can save it. And you can also change the other parameters which are available here for all different plugins related to the CMDB. That concludes my demo. Back to you, JC.
Thank you, Devendra. If you come up across any issues using the CMDB portal or any other areas of the CMDB, BMC has a host of troubleshooting guides that will help you. They can be found on the documentation pages at docs.bmc.com. The documentation pages can also be accessed through the CMDB self-help widget. One of the most common problems you may encounter when using the CMDB portal is actually launching it. There are two methods to open the CMDB portal. One is through the mid-tier, and the other is the direct URL. If you're not able to launch the CMDB portal through the mid-tier, the most common cause is an incorrect URL configuration in the Remedy Central console. To resolve this problem, check whether the redirect URL is correctly defined in the Central Configuration console. If RSSO is integrated, it usually means there's an incorrect auth configuration. To resolve this, check the RSSO configuration in the RSSO admin console in the OAuth 2 section. We've listed some useful references that you can go through after this webinar, which will provide more information on the CMDB portal. In this webinar, we've taken a look at the Atrium Explorer and CMDB dashboard. We've seen the new drag and drop query builder. We've gone through the Atrium Integrator console, auditing and archiving. We've given demos on the class query mapping and dynamic service modeling, reconciliation, normalization, and core configurations. This concludes our webinar for today. I'll now hand you back to Greg.
Thank you. And now I'll take us through the self-help in contacting BMC. The YouTube channel where this webinar will be posted is listed here. It contains past webinars as well as a rich set of how-to videos. The Connect with BMC Helix ITSM and Remedy webinar schedule is available at this community's link, and the hot off the press newsletter for trending information is available at this community's post. As always, contacting technical support via web, phone, email, and these social channels is available. At this time, that will conclude this webinar. Thank you for attending.